Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, Bow and Arrow Tarot. Today we are doing the weekly look at the sign of Cancer. Alright, my lovely Cancers, we're going to go right into it and get out your angel messages for the week. Come out the gate with make the effort. Alright, great love is worth taking the steps you're guided to take. Engagement, your love life is ascending to a higher level of commitment. And we have this could be the one. All right, so the reading for Gemini was similar. A lot of really beautiful, positive cards about love and commitment. So let's get right into it. We're going to pull out your wild unknown animal spirits for the week to see what kind of elements you're dealing with this week. You could resonate with some of these, all of these, or none of them. It's fine too. Just gives us a little bit more insight into what kind of personalities you're dealing with, or what kind of animal spirits your people or your person, your special person, may be walking with this week. So. All right, Cancer, we have the dragon. All right, it's element of ether, spirit element. We have the starfish, water energy. That upside down triangle at the top of the card is the alchemical symbol for water. And we have the beautiful nightingale. The nightingales have been coming out a lot. Of course, the nightingale is air energy. Nightingale is really beautiful, specifically talking connected to the throat chakra, of course, right? So we have the dragon. Let's just cover these animal spirits briefly before we go into the actual forecast readings. The dragon. The dragon resides in the area of the solar plexus. All right, so that's the third chakra. Pretty sure. Let me just I'll double check that. But in any case, the dragon is always watching. Right? The dragon is always, the dragon is synonymous almost with that connection to your inner self, the connection to your higher self, your soul, your spirit. The dragon is always watching to make sure, you know, are you in line with, you know, are you staying true to who you are? You know, so the dragon is kind of like that angel, you know, you have the good angel, bad angel, they always say on the shoulder, but the dragon is neither. It's almost like your soul on your shoulder saying, hey, are you, you know, are you in line? Are the efforts that you're making, the moves that you're making, the decisions that you're making, are they in line with who you truly are, right? And so in that way, the dragon is very much about keeping an eye on the path that you take in life, right? And it can also represent individuals in your life who kind of remind you of who you are. Sometimes when you forget, sometimes we forget who we are. We get caught up in certain scenarios. The person who is embodying that dragon spirit is going to remind you of that. And also along with the dragon, of course, comes that energy, that fiery energy of pushing through, right? So then we have the starfish. The starfish is water energy. Starfish is a very shallow creature in a sense that the starfish is pretty much just concerned with the outside, concerned with looks, getting attention. This is your typical attention grubber, you know, attention hog. Person who enjoys being famous, being popular, right? But the starfish also then reminds us that when we are embodying too much of this energy, we lose touch with who we are, all right? And then we lose our true beauty, right? And so the starfish animal spirit is there to remind us not to be too caught up in the shallow side of life, in the surface, and appearances, okay? And then we have, of course, the nightingale. The nightingale is gorgeous energy. Very rare card to come up, but it has come up quite a lot recently in the readings. The nightingale is a very unassuming bird in the sense that it's a very plain colored brown bird, very small. But the voice of a nightingale is absolutely breathtaking. To hear it sing is just absolutely beautiful. And so the nightingale is very much associated with the throat chakra, opening up communication, but wanting to communicate beauty, wanting to communicate in a very harmonious way. The nightingale sings to our hearts in a way, right? The nightingale sings to our soul. Expressive, right? So when you're walking with nightingale energy, or you're embodying the animal spirit of nightingale, your speech is harmonious, right? And your expression, your verbal, specifically your verbal expression, the way you talk and communicate with those around you, inspires people. It uplifts people. You share a sense of awe in the beauty of life, right? And people can feel that from you when you are embodying this kind of energy and you are talking, communicating, expressing yourself. All right. So, also the nightingale can be synonymous with singers. All right. So those of you who have a specific talent for singing, okay, this may be you, right? The nightingale. And also it can indicate that you're coming into your own as far as your talent as well. All right, so that's just a little bit of a side for those of you who are aspiring singers or performers. So what's going on with our lovely Cancer sign of the Crab? This week, we're talking August 18th to the 24th. We're going to pull out about 7 or 8 possible scenarios for you. And hopefully one of these scenarios will resonate with you, Cancer. All right, so first out we have 8 of Cups, Ace of Discs, Pentacles, and Knight of Discs. All right, so some of you have made a conscious decision to move away from shallow relationships, right? It could be that you've been embodying starfish energy. You've kind of woken up to the fact that, your relationships haven't gone as deep as you'd like them to. Perhaps because you haven't, right? Perhaps you haven't, you've been more in the shallow side of the pool, let's say, right? Looking from the outside, you may have been picking partners by the way they appear, right? The way they, your attraction to their outside, right? And you're realizing that perhaps some of that has led to a lot of these empty cups, right? In the 8 of Cups, we see a figure moving up the mountain with the cloak of red. It's the sign of wisdom. He's moving over the river, you can see. So he's crossing his emotions. The water is always synonymous with emotions. He's crossing this kind of, sparse, river that comes through. It's not roaring. It's not very deep. It doesn't seem to indicate a lot of depth, right? And he's crossing that to go to a higher ground, to go to a deeper level in his relationships, all right? And so some of you Cancers have decided that. You started to put borders or boundaries in place with others to ensure that those who are close to you are in fact up to a standard that you require, right? And so this week, you're making these moves. You've been making these moves probably recently if you are resonating with this particular drawing spread, right? This may be a decision that you've come to recently or perhaps in the last several months. But this week, you've got a great opportunity coming in. And this opportunity comes with it a possibility of a new relationship. Okay, even though it is a Pentacles, the Ace of Pentacles, within it, the Ace of Pentacles also tends to indicate the possibility of laying groundwork for a relationship. If you can see in the background, there is this little garden with this kind of arch reef there, and that can indicate this is symbolic really of a love situation, of a happy home, a happy union, right? And so the Ace of Pentacles brings with it not only abundance and opportunity to raise your financial status or your material status, but it also brings with it the ability to support a family, the ability to support a relationship, right? And then you have the Knight of Pentacles coming in. So that's quite interesting, right? So somebody else also is coming into your life this week with an offer. Now, I don't believe these offers are the same. I think they're two separate offers, right? One is an offer, but one is a person coming in with a particular skill or a particular opportunity that they would like to talk to you about this week. And because you've made this Eight of Cups move, you're in a perfect position now to take advantage of a lot of these, of either of these opportunities coming in. And I think that for some of you Cancers, out of this Ace of Pentacles will come the opportunity for a new relationship as well. A good relationship, a deep relationship. We have the Chariot, Four of Swords, and the Star. So some of you are certainly about to embark on a long journey, a big journey, a quest almost, to attain what you've always desired, to reach your goals, to reach your dreams, right? You're just at the precipice of beginning that journey, but right now you're laying the foundation. And for some of you, you're not quite sure what the next step is. You've taken a step back, I think, to kind of strategize, right? Four of Swords talks about taking a time out, a truce, calling a truce, retreating to your corner, to kind of assess the situation, to meditate on the situation, and to find the best way forward in a particular situation. So you're not wanting to be hasty, but just remember your Chariot is here. So try not to stay in this Four of Swords energy for too long. You do have Star here, so you have a lot of hope right now. You know, the Nightingale also indicates hope, okay? The Nightingale is synonymous with the feeling of hope, positivity, you know, someone who is an optimist, right? And right now you do have a lot of hope for the future. You have a lot of optimism for the future, but I think this week you're just kind of in a holding pattern. You're not really sure how to move forward. This could certainly be about a relationship, okay? This could certainly be about taking the next step in a relationship towards commitment, and you're just not sure how to go about it, okay? So this week may be a down week for you in the sense that you may not be making a lot of moves. You may be thinking a lot this week and strategizing. We have Justice coming out, Knight of Swords, and the Nine of Wands. All right, so Justice is in, all right? That means some of you Cancers are waiting for a decision. Could be that you're waiting for a business decision or a business agreement to come through, a document, some kind of official document to come through. Could be that some of you are waiting for a separation or a divorce to be finalized, right? But Justice usually indicates a balancing of the scales, right? But in an official capacity, right? In a capacity that is very real, very tangible, right? Oftentimes it can indicate formalities, paperwork, right? But you're waiting for that. You're in the middle of this, right? Situation, Cancer. And this week, I think what comes in for you this week is a lot of ingenuity, and a lot of new thinking. Some of you may have been waiting on this Justice to come in for quite some time. You may have been feeling quite stagnant. And so this week, you're getting a little bit of oomph in your step. You're starting to come up with some more ideas. You're becoming a bit more creative. It may be that you're not willing to wait for this decision to completely come down, and that you've realized that there is a way that you can take some of the control, or you can change the narrative of the story a little bit. And so this week you're kind of pushing forward with that energy. It has been a very long journey, okay? And I believe this Knight of Swords energy coming out in you, Cancer, is really just coming out of inspiration, because you've taken a moment to look back. Nine of Wands talks about looking back on a long journey that's about to come to an end, and just reevaluating everywhere that you've been, everything that you've gone through, right? And also summoning that last bit of energy to kind of hold on until the finish line, right? Hold on to the finish line. Try to stay, try to stay on track, right? Very similar to dragon energy in the sense of watching, reevaluating, making sure that you are doing things that is in line with who you are and your heart, and what you believe in, right? But as a result of this kind of Nine of Wands break, also, I believe you're embodying this Knight of Swords. You're getting this new kind of inspiration this week. And it could certainly be that you have a few more, well, maybe not a lot, but a few really strong ideas about how to move forward. Okay, this is certainly going to be about those of you who are making career decisions, and also any kind of For those of you Cancers who have been shouldering perhaps a burden or a responsibility for quite some time that is tied in with the justice system, and you're waiting for this to kind of be resolved, like I said, you're summoning the energy to make it to the finish line, but also this week you're coming up with some really fresh new ideas, which will impact how you go forward. Five of Pentacles, Page of Pentacles, and Temperance. So some of you certainly have come out of a power struggle, right? 5 is the number for power struggle, and 5 of Pentacles is when you have a power struggle with someone and you're the one who comes out of it paying the price, okay? 5 of Pentacles can happen when you break up in a relationship and then all of a sudden you guys aren't living together, and maybe now you have to find a new place to live, or maybe now you're shouldering bills by yourself that you were sharing with another person before, right? 5 of Pentacles is a very interesting card because there is a lot of emotion tied to it. There is a lot of pain, a lot of feeling of alienation that is tied to it. But the worst of it comes in the form of monetary or material, in the sense that, you know, while you're hurt because you've kind of come out of this power struggle as the loser in a way, or the one who's paying the price, on top of being hurt, you're also having to shoulder a financial burden. All right, and you've been kind of struggling with this probably for some of you for quite some time. And what happens this week is you get an inkling of finally going back to who you are, finally coming back, or finally kind of making it back up out of the hole maybe that some of you are in, to back to the level that you were before. It starts with a little conversation or an opportunity that's coming in that somebody brings to you. This could be at work. This could even be through friends, right? But it's something that you know, for those of you who are resonating with this spread, you're going to know what I'm talking about, because it's going to be something that's in the vein of what you're passionate about already. And it could be that you may have had to give up some of your passions because of this 5 of Pentacles. Well, this Page of Pentacles is now bringing back the possibility of reigniting those passions. And you're having to find yourself temperance, right? You're having to find yourself embodying temperance because of all of the emotions that you've been feeling as a result of all this. Temperance comes in to remind you, don't get too excited. Don't get, ahead of yourself. Temper yourself. Take your time. Take care. This is 5 of Pentacles is a difficult situation to get yourself back out of sometimes. Okay, so don't jump from the fire into the frying pan. Take your time, even though for some of you, you're probably very, very ready to kind of get on with your life and get out of this space. Temperance is here, and Sagittarius, some of you may be dealing with Sagittarius. Temperance, of course, is the card for Sagittarius, but that kind of control of yourself is what's being called for this week. We have the Hermit, 7 of Wands, and 8 of Pentacles. So some of you are certainly coming out of a period of spiritual growth. You may not have had a lot of social interaction most recently, maybe the last several months to a year. You may have been feeling quite the loner, but you've been kind of walking your own path. And this week, I think that perhaps some of you are finding yourself having to defend that path. You may be attacked. It could be that family members or friends or obstacle, whatever the case may be. It could be just bad vibes. It could just be you feeling kind of antagonized in a way, but you're just feeling like you're having to defend your position. You're having to defend your stance. Now remember, wands is all about creativity. A wand is not a weapon like a sword. And so when we talk about 7 of Wands and fighting off obstacles, we talk about coming up with creative ways to fight those obstacles or get rid of those obstacles, okay? And so some of you realize that the best way to do that is to knuckle down and get into your work. 8 of Pentacles talks about discipline. Discipline, boundaries, right? Strengths and weaknesses. Sometimes, we restrict ourselves so that we can get a certain goal accomplished, right? That restriction is called discipline. Not all restrictions are bad. Discipline is very good. We have to have discipline in order for us to be able to focus and to move towards a goal properly. Oftentimes, this card is misinterpreted as being bored at work, but in fact, you're looking at a handcrafter. All right. And the amount of skill that is required for a handcraft to reproduce all of those pentacles in such excellent condition, right? And with such good quality and, you know, so similar, that is very hard to do. And that's the sign of a master craftsman. Well, how do you become a master craftsman? By diligently working, by being disciplined, by restricting yourself, by putting in boundaries for those around you so that you are not distracted. And I think a lot of you are realizing that this week, the most important way for you to get your goal, to accomplish your goal, and to fight off these obstacles is to stay focused on your work. It could be that some people are throwing, the obstacle that they're throwing in your way is to take your focus off of your work, because they realize that that is how they get you. That is how they get you to fail, or they get you to you know, miss out on what it is you're trying to accomplish by distracting you. I want to say almost kind of that devil energy, in a sense of, yeah, you know, come have fun with us, get that instant gratification. You know, there are people that will do that in a way to just kind of ruin your chances of kind of achieving what you'd like to achieve, but they hide it in the guise of wanting to have fun, or, you know, when the truth of the matter is they realize that the more you work on yourself, the more you work on your craft, the more of a master you will become. And a lot of people are jealous of that. We have 7 of Cups, 10 of Swords, 6 of Wands. Wow. Okay, some of you are coming out of a period that has been full of trials and tribulations, and you're just not the same person anymore. You know, this is a stage of your life that is coming to an end. You're not the same. You know, 10 of Swords can come out oftentimes when we have conquered addictions, or we have conquered periods of our lives, times in our lives, or stages where we have really suffered, okay? And the suffering that we've gone through has changed us fundamentally as a person. Well, 10 of Swords, you're coming to the end of it, and you're leaving that old you behind, right? But what starts it all off, and the realization of all of that, is just simply your goals, like your 7 of Cups. This week, 7 of Cups talks about dreams and aspirations that we have for ourselves. But oftentimes those dreams, when we look at 7 of Cups type of dreams, those can be dreams that are either unrealistic, they can be delusional. You know, if you dream of being a famous singer and you're in your 40s and you never sang a song before in your life, then that's delusional, okay? But people have those kind of dreams, right? You dream of being stinking rich because you have some invention that you think everybody's going to want, but you've done nothing about actually investigating it or getting, you know what I mean? Like, you don't have any experience with that, but you just think that, you know, your idea, that's delusional. That's an example of, you know, dreaming something that is not going to come true, you know. And we oftentimes tell people all the time, oh, you can do anything you want, be anything you want. Yeah, you can, but within reason. You know, some things are just plain delusional. And so this week you've been having a lot of like pie in the sky thoughts about what you'd like for your life. And I think you're starting to realize, as you're coming out of this 10 of Swords, are these the things that you truly want in your life? Is it really what you want? Or is it something that you've been holding on to all this time, and you believe that these are the things that you wanted? Like a big house, cars, money, right? Perhaps up until now, these are the things that you always believed that you wanted. And it could be that chasing those things is what's led to a lot of this 10 of Swords sort of energy, right? 10 of Swords experience. I think you wake up to a lot of that this week. This could very well also be waking up to starfish energy, because a lot of the things in the 7 of Cups, a lot of those kind of I want to say rewards, I guess, or dreams in those cups are shallow. They're rooted in money or status, right? Things that aren't very deep. And I think you realize that. You do have a bit of a little victory this week, and it could be that you were expecting this victory to come in. This is not going to be a shock. But take care that this victory doesn't go to your head, and that you don't go back to kind of believing in these things. You've worked so hard, right? You've gone through so much to kind of like, I want to say to maybe to take your level of aspiration up a notch to something more fulfilling, something more spiritual. Don't allow the victory that you're going to be celebrating this week to kind of go to your head and take you right back to this place that you were before this Ten of Swords. Okay, getting you to think, oh, well, maybe I will be a famous singer because maybe you want to karaoke. You know what I mean? It's something like that, right? Just take the win, take the little win for what it is, take the victory for what it is, and continue to move forward because you've done all of this hard work with the Ten of Swords. Ace of Swords, we have the Sun. We're not doing reversals. And the Seven of Swords. All right. Interesting. So some of you, this week, you're going to be getting some information coming in, some messages, maybe a conversation with somebody that's going to vindicate you. Some of you have had a particular stance on something, and I think up until now you haven't been vindicated, or people have thought that you were either crazy to have that stance, or, it didn't make any sense to them. Perhaps, you were putting out a particular viewpoint and nobody believed you. Well, this week, this Ace of Swords comes in, and it's almost as if everything you've been telling people is true. You get your vindication in a way, right? Because Ace of Swords can indicate new information and new communication that comes in, but with it, it brings a bit of a victory, right? It brings a bit of notoriety, I want to say, maybe just realizing validation. That's the word I was looking for. It brings with it a bit of validation. Okay, so a lot of times, we have our convictions, and we're not validated until people see proof. This week, the proof is going to come in for some of the things you've been telling people, and you walk in the sun. All right, suddenly you're walking in the sun. You have more self-confidence. You're proud of yourself. And you realize that, yes, you were right all along, right? But as a result of that, you have somebody in your life who's embodying Seven of Swords. This is the thief in the night. Usually this is somebody close to you, could be a friend of yours, somebody who knows you very well. And they're going to be very upset about this vindication. And they're going to be very upset about the fact that you're coming out on top. Watch your back this week with this individual, because behind the scenes, they're going to be doing certain things to try to take your win away, to try to take the wind out of your sails, to try to steal your victory, okay? And usually, like I said, these are people who are closest to us. All right, guys, this is it. This is your forecast for the week. My lovely Cancers, if this resonated with you, you know what to do. Like, subscribe, and share. Don't forget to hit that bell. But for right now, I'm going to say, Cancer, I love you so much. Have a wonderful week, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.